and welcome to the XReview. My name is Paul, and today we're going to have a look over NASA's Artemis mission. Well, the proposed Artemis mission, which is essentially the moon base and beyond. So let's take a look, shall we?
Between 1968 and 1972, America launched 9 human missions to the moon, 6 of which successfully touched down, allowing 12 men to walk on the lunar surface. NASA's next chapter of lunar exploration, called Artemis, has the task of not just going to the moon to create a long-term human presence on and around it, but also to prepare for ever more complex human missions to Mars. In short, Mars for on the moon to create a long-term.
Now, I do like the mission logo. I reckon they spent millions on this logo, but because they can. But that's a very genius piece. So you've got the Earth, the A, and the rocket's trajectory, going around the moon. It's amazing. There's a lot of thought that goes into stuff like this. Let's continue.
Human presence on and around it, but also to prepare for ever more complex human missions to Mars. In short, everything we must be able to do here, we must first do here. So, what will an Artemis mission look like? Everything is designed and tested with our most important element in mind, the astronauts. This is their deep space, human-rated spacecraft called Orion, built in 3 parts. The crew module, where up to 4 astronauts will live and work throughout the flight. The service module, with life support systems for the crew and its own engine and fuel reserves. And a launch abort system, with engines capable of pulling the crew module to safety during launch should anything go wrong.
Now, that's very wise, and they've learnt the lesson from the failed Apollo 13, so they're not stuck having to use the moon's gravity to get home. Launch that bit and just get the hell home. Makes sense, really. I'm surprised it was never thought of in the 60s. But then again, they've got all the technology. They've had the technology for decades to be able to establish a moon base. It's just now become more commercially viable, as now you've got the private companies that are also assisting NASA on this, so it brings the cost down. So let's continue.
To accomplish the task of launching our crew and heavy payloads, NASA is building the Space Launch System, comprising of a cargo hold, an exploration upper stage, a massive core stage, and 2 extended solid rocket boosters. Altogether, this is the world's most powerful rocket, and it exceeds the legendary Saturn V of the Apollo era in numerous ways. Sitting on the launch pad, the entire rocket, fully fueled, weighs just over 6 million pounds, 5.2 million of which is just the fuel.
Wow.
Once ignited, there is no stopping what comes next. All 4 RS-25 engines and the 2 solid rocket boosters come to life, thundering our crew upwards. 2 minutes after ignition, the solid rocket boosters are spent and released. 8 minutes after launch, the core stage is depleted and separated. The upper stage fires briefly, placing Orion into a parking orbit around the Earth.
Avoiding all the space
crew
junk because
the
it's
spacecraft and check systems to confirm everything is ready for deep space travel.
Where space junk is
With a go from
mid to
mission
low
control,
orbit.
the crew reignite the exploration upper stage engines to leave Earth entirely. The exact timing of this maneuver is critical to reach a speed that can escape Earth's gravitational pull, but also put Orion on a course that will intersect the moon days later. Once this burn is complete, the upper stage of the SLS is jettisoned and the crew aboard Orion coast for several days toward all that awaits them at the moon. Approaching the moon, we see the fundamental differences between Artemis and Apollo. Instead of requiring Orion to serve as an expendable lunar command module or to carry a constrained lunar lander, the Artemis missions will take advantage of a different approach: pre-staging. Everything needed for lunar missions will be positioned in advance by commercial and international partners.
So yeah, commercial and international partners. So you'll have SpaceX, Virgin Galactic, if Branson doesn't go bust before then, because he's got a lot of problems at the moment, especially with Virgin Atlantic. So you've got the European Space Agency, and then you've got the British, who are no longer technically part of it, even though we spent a lot of money with it. And we've got our own plans. Yes, we have our own plans. Don't know what they are, but we do have our own plans. You've got India, you've got China, you've got, well, I don't see China working alongside NASA on this one, but you've got quite a few countries that want in on this. Russia definitely want in on this. They love exploring space like the Americans do, but they want to do it for half the cost. And by pooling resources, which they have been doing with the International Space Station, they've got, you know, they've got an easy ride on it. Right, let's continue.
This includes rovers, science experiments, and human-rated systems on the surface. But it also includes a dedicated lunar station in orbit around the moon called Gateway. Here at this station, we can pre-stage a robust lunar lander and establish a strong communications relay. Designed with open standards, the Gateway can be expanded as new missions and partnerships develop, allowing
So yeah, pause that again. So yeah, it's expandable. So they've designed it so you can add on module after module after module, just like the International Space Station. And you had a lot of people saying, well, why don't you just move the International Space Station? It will take a ridiculous amount of fuel, probably 10 times what originally put all the bits in orbit, just to drag its massive ass over. And but you know, you could say, well, what about space having no gravity, no weight? Well, you still got to be able to send it over. You still got to drag it. Anyways, let's continue.
multiple human missions on the moon at the same time and enabling ongoing science to be conducted even between human missions. The Gateway is also capable of adjusting its orbit to allow access to every part of the moon, something the Apollo missions could not do. But the real key in this approach is placing Gateway in a unique halo orbit to perfect the maneuvers needed for Mars missions. And with the growing list of commercial and international opportunities, Gateway is the ideal hub between Earth and all that lies beyond. Returning to our crew as they approach Gateway, the Orion must match the elliptical orbit of the station in order to successfully dock. Once on board, pre-selected crew members transfer to the lunar lander, while those assigned to Gateway remain on station. The lunar lander system itself is built for 3 unique steps: descending from the halo orbit of Gateway down to a low lunar orbit, descending from low lunar orbit to the surface, and once the lunar mission is complete, launching from the surface of the moon and ascending all the way back to the orbiting Gateway.
So, gonna pause it here again. This is the stuff that I used to dream about when I was a kid. I'm now nearly 40 years old, so I'll never get up to there. Got a funny feeling though that my little one, her generation, she's 4 at the moment, they'll be the ones who would be taking full-on charge over the moon base and the Mars base. So if you're interested in stuff and you've got some smart kids, encourage them to do well. And you never know, they might be space truckers. That would be interesting. Anyway, let's continue.
Once back aboard the Orion spacecraft and undocked from Gateway, the crew fire their engine once to break out of the halo orbit, and once again to sling the spacecraft around the moon, placing it on a multi-day trajectory back towards Earth. As they near the end of this journey, the service module is released, and the crew module is oriented heat shield first. Entering Earth's atmosphere at 25,000 miles per hour, the friction of air slows Orion considerably, while also subjecting it to temperatures of 5,000 degrees. With the Orion now at just 300 miles per hour, a series of parachutes uniquely tested and produced for this moment deploy, decelerating the craft to just 20 miles per hour for splashdown. With each successful mission, Artemis ushers in the next wave of men and women to explore our moon and prove that together we are ready to go beyond.
Right, so that's the end of their video. So it's just a shame that we have to wait for so long You know, this could have been done a long time ago, but no one was willing to spend the money on it. Oh well, it's being spent now, and we're just a couple more years away from Artemis going live, so we'll see. Trump said 5 years. He said that, what, 2 years ago. So if he wins the next election, then it's definitely going to happen. He promised us the moon, and I hope that he can deliver the moon and Mars. Well, let's soon find out, shall we? If you've enjoyed this video, please hit like, subscribe and share. And if you want to check out any more content from Muster X Media, please click the links on the screen now, and I shall catch you next time.